Chapter 3. Fun Frog Facts. Table Group Activity. Research and gather as many fun frog facts as you can. As soon as you find one, write it on a sticky note. Complete as many sticky notes as possible. You have 30 minutes. And go! Candy frog gummies will be involved. No actual frogs were injured in the making of these gummies. Frogs shed their skin once a week, then eat it. Yuck! Frogs drink water through their skin instead of through their mouths. Most frogs have teeth in their upper jaw. Male Darwin frogs swallow developing tadpoles. They keep them in their vocal sacs until they are ready to come out as juvenile frogs. Ew! Male frogs attract female frogs by croaking. Not the dying kind of croaking, but the sound kind of croaking. Many frogs can leap more than 20 times their body length. A group of frogs is called an army. The golden poison dart frog has enough venom to kill 10 grown men. Aviva. Date, September 12th. Every time I see Emily, my stomach hurts. This morning, she put a note in my mailbox. Aviva, what's going on? Please talk to me. Maybe we can walk to school together tomorrow? Your bestie since second grade, Emily. That last line made my throat prickle. Emily and I have been best friends ever since I rescued her. 2 weeks after Emma stopped homeschooling me, she enrolled me in second grade. All the kids knew each other already, and everyone had paired up. Emily and I were seat buddies, but I don't think we said more than 10 words to each other until I lied for her. Cranky Ms. McFarley never let us use the bathroom after recess. This was supposed to teach us to use our time wisely and be responsible enough to go potty instead of play handball all recess long. Really? This taught us to hold our pee longer. One time, Emily couldn't hold it, and she wound up peeing a big old puddle in her chair. I told everyone I'd spilled my water bottle and she'd sat in it. When Emily came back to class with fresh loaner shorts from the nurse's office, she shot me this grateful look, and we became instant best friends. Suddenly, school was fantastic. We got even closer when her parents divorced because Emily wanted to sleep over a lot. My parents prefer to host the sleepovers because overprotective is their middle name, so having Emily over was a win-win. Kaylee's our third, even though she and Emily hung out before I came along. Kaylee's the kind of friend you have to be careful not to make mad. Sometimes she can be mean. Only now, everything is changing, and I don't know how to stop it. I need to stay on Kaylee's good side because we'll be together next year. I don't want to have to sit alone at lunch. The chance that I'll rescue another friend from a puddle of pee is low. I can't walk with Emily because Kaylee will get mad, and Emily will ask me questions I don't know how to answer. I can just imagine her saying, "You know how Kaylee is. Why are you letting her make all the decisions? Don't you have your own opinion?" And I'd be all silence. Because what can I say to that? Of course I have opinions. I have tons of them. But having them doesn't mean I can share them or stand up to Kaylee about them. I slipped a note in Emily's box right before lunch. Dear Emily, I'm getting a ride tomorrow. We'll talk soon. Aviva. Truth? I'm not getting a ride tomorrow, but I can walk a different way to school. That way I won't run into Emily. Sometimes life is so complicated. Blake. Can I pick some grass for Kermit's habitat? Sure. Principal. Grouchy principal. My history of trouble. First grade, third grade, now. You have to watch this one closely. I gave him permission. Kaylee. Dear Miss Graham, not to be a tattletale, but do you know that Blake is only drawing in his journal every day? How does he get away with that? Don't you notice when you walk around? Just because he goes to Rezar's class for English doesn't mean you should let him slack off. And can you please give Sharon a quota for comments? That girl needs to zip it. Teachers always think she's brilliant, but the truth is that she reads history books for fun. Who does that? No offense, but has anyone explained to you the purpose of sticky notes? They're to remind you to do things. You've got at least 12 on your desk right now. That's like reminder overload. I'm sure it's helpful. Sorry, I'm not sure it's helpful. And do you really need a note to remind you to laugh often? Please. Last thing. Don't you think it's unsanitary to have students bringing in bugs for Kermit to eat? I know you've got the antibacterial hand wash, but still. Gross. P.S. I will tell Emily that Aviva's going to La Ventana soon. Awkward. Chapter 4. My class equals your class equals our class. Select your class job this week. Choose wisely. It's yours for the year. Henry. Scene. Table group work. Students discuss class job options, including the class council election coming up on Friday. Happy, wasting class time buzz fills the room. Henry. I'm voting for Kermit. He'll bring class council to a whole new level. Kaylee. You bring annoying to a whole new level. Henry. What? Kermit is the perfect candidate. He's calm, he won't gossip, he can jump more than twice his body length. All good qualities for a leader. Ms. Graham. Remember, this Friday's vote is not a popularity contest. Kaylee whispers. It's totally a popularity contest. That's why I'm not running. I might get it, and I don't want it. Henry. Seriously, you should run. You could abolish homework. Kaylee makes a face. Henry. Or expand our snack choices. Kaylee. Why don't you run if you've got so many ideas? Henry. I'm a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. I'll write your acceptance speech. Kaylee. Shut up! I can't tell when you're being serious and when you're just kidding. Henry. That's because you're not familiar with Henryish. Kaylee. What is Henryish? Henry. My language. You know, like English or Spanish. I speak Henryish. Kaylee. You are so strange. Henry. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Kaylee. Sighs. Emily. Status. Eyes rolling. Dear Hope, truthfully, I want to boycott this whole class job assignment. I'm still mad at Ms. Graham for not letting me change my table group, but if I have to pick something, I'm going to run for class council. If some of the kids are going to be making our classroom rules, I want to be a part of it. The problem is, I don't have a ton of friends, but I'll need a ton of votes. I've always hung out with Aviva and Kaylee, only they've been acting so weird recently. Today, I'm going to try to talk to 3 new people at lunch. I've known most of these kids since kindergarten, and I think they'll vote for me, but who knows? Now I'm wishing I'd had bigger birthday parties. Birthday parties by friends. I wish I could talk to my friends about some of these things, but Dad's traveling like always. Sometimes I hate my dad's job. Him being gone practically all the time is the main reason my parents got a divorce. I used to talk to Mom about drama at school, but she says she's not feeling 100%, so these days I just don't want to worry her. Still feeling unlucky and hopeless. Emily. P.S. Sometimes I think I might want to be a journalist when I grow up, but if I do, I'll do it better than Dad. I'll make time for my family. Aviva. Date, September 13th. My hand is shaking so badly that I can hardly write. The scariest thing just happened. I walked the long way to school this morning. I didn't want to run into Emily, especially since I'd told her I had a ride. All of a sudden, a banged-up car pulled up next to me real slow. This scruffy man sat inside. He had tattoos up and down his arms. He'd crammed his car so full of clothes, food, laundry detergent, and trash that I doubted he could see out the windows. I felt like I'd stepped into one of those stranger danger ads, because just like all the stories, Tattoo Man rolled down the window and asked, "Have you seen my dog? He ran off. He's a long-haired black lab." I told him no, and sorry, then kept walking. Only just then he jerked the wheel, parked at the curb, and got out of the car. I panicked. Probably he was just climbing out to look for his dog, but it totally freaked me out. I ran so fast that my chest hurt, and when I turned to look behind me, Tattoo Man was gone. I bumped into Emily right when I got to school, and I wanted to tell her what happened, but then I'd have to explain why I was walking. I couldn't tell Kaylee either because she'd say I'm such a baby for getting scared. So I didn't tell anyone, just sat down and started writing. At least my journal can't laugh at me or make me feel stupid. Cecilia. Hola, abuelita. I can't imagine running for class council. I'd be way too nervous to give a speech in front of everyone. Abuelita, remember how I came home from kindergarten and couldn't stop crying because I couldn't understand anyone at school? Of course, now I speak English just as well as anyone, and I can translate for Mommy at parent-teacher conferences, but I think that's when I started feeling self-conscious about talking. I'm not shy, I'm just quiet. There's a difference. At White Oak, the only time I feel totally comfortable is during lunch recess. A bunch of us have soccer matches on the far field. I've been playing goalie. I don't mind diving for the ball even if the ground is muddy. I'd like to try another position soon. I love soccer, partly because I'm good at it, partly because of all the memories I have of watching football on the couch with you and Abuelito, and partly because the game's the same, whether I speak Spanish or English. I miss Abuelito so much. I know you do too. Ms. Graham is asking us to write letters for our class mailboxes every week. Today I made myself write too. Sometimes writing is easier than talking. Words to practice. Shy equals tímida. Besos y abrazos, Cecilia. Dear Ms. Graham, every day I see a new frog figure or frog poster in class. You must really like frogs. I think you should add a sticky note that says, Ribbit! From Cecilia. Dear Aviva, what's wrong? You look sad today. If you ever want to talk, let me know. From Cecilia. Henry. Scene. Students vote for class council. Overachievers stupid enough to run. Amaya, Emily, Kai, and Amar. They're looking nervous and turning shades of green. 10 points if someone barfs. Ms. Graham. Just to refresh your kids, our class will be set up kind of like the branches of the U.S. government. We'll elect 2 council members to represent Congress, while our class judge will represent the courts, and I will represent the president. Here we go. Unfolds a piece of paper. Our class council members will be, drum roll please, Emily and Kai. Class. Some clap, some groan. Ms. Graham. And I'm appointing our class judge. This will be Sharon. Class reacts. Sharon sinks lower in her seat. Henry. Better luck next time, Kermit. I was rooting for you. Ms. Graham. This is not an exact replica of the government, but it should give you a sense of what it's like to balance different interests and powers for the good of the people. I, of course, will retain veto power, like the president. Blake, under breath. Big surprise. Ms. Graham. In the real United States government, Congress can override a president's veto with a 2/3 vote, but I do have to retain some control over this classroom, so my veto will be final. Kaylee whispers. Basically, she's acting like we've got control, but really we have none. Ms. Graham. I'd also like to remind you that any member of this class can propose a new law. Henry whispers back. I dare you to propose a law. Something outrageous, like we get to grade ourselves. Kaylee sighs and ignores him. Henry. Or double recess, or no homework, or movie Fridays. Blake. I'll do it. Henry. Yeah! Ms. Graham. Anyone brave enough to go first? Blake. I want to get rid of homework. We shouldn't have to do work outside of school. Ms. Graham laughs. I can't blame you for trying. Okay. I'll send your class council out to begin to discuss your proposal. Henry fist bumps Blake. Thanks, bro, you rock! Blake looks proud. Kaylee rolls eyes. What a waste of time. You know she's going to veto it. Henry. Kaylee, you're missing the point. Wasting class time is a good thing. Get with the program. Kaylee sighs. I'm actually looking forward to an all-girls private school, and they have to wear plaid skirts every single day. That's how irritating you are. Henry. Success! Emily. Status. Tongue sticking out. Dear Hope, I can't believe I made it onto class council. Kai and I sat outside at the round lunch tables to discuss Blake's proposal. We both agreed this was pointless. There's no way Ms. Graham would approve getting rid of homework. Kai showed me how he can solve a Rubik's Cube behind his back, so it wasn't entirely a waste of time. The funny thing was that we did start to talk about Blake's proposal a little. We figured we had to approve this law or we might as well drop out of school because everyone would hate us. So we were basically passing a law knowing that Ms. Graham would veto it. And then inspiration struck. What if we proposed only doing half the homework? Like half the math problems or half the vocab definitions? Ms. Graham might actually approve that. So we tried it. Love and crossing my fingers luck, Emily. Blake. You actually have to look up here to see what's happening because there is no dialogue. Kai. Hey, Frog! Yes! Ms. Graham approved our half homework law. She'll watch our test scores on Fridays, and if our scores go down, she'll veto the law. But if they stay the same, she'll let the law stand. Today at lunch, 3 different guys offered me their chips to thank me. Sweet! After lunch, Ms. Graham set a stack of books on my desk. I guess she's noticed how worn out my favorites are. I read them over and over until they actually fall apart. Looks like I won't have to convince you to read, she said, smiling, and patted the top of the stack. Want to branch out and try something new? I took a quick peek. 4 new books, all fantasy. Yes! Ms. Graham is the first teacher who hasn't banned me from keeping books in my desk. Although it is only the first months of school, so she still has time. I can listen to the teacher and read at the same time, but nobody seems to appreciate this talent. Kaylee. Dear Ms. Graham, my mother is having a reaction. She's got hives all over. She's so upset. She has a reaction a couple of times a year. When I was little, it freaked me out, but now I bring her cream for her hives and a diet ginger ale from the garage fridge, and I hide in my room. My mother thinks it's ridiculous that you're letting the kids run the classroom. Sharon doesn't even know how to pick clothes that match. How can she make important decisions as our judge? Plus, my mother can't believe you're letting us do half the homework. She's making me do it all, by the way. Usually, after she has a reaction, she goes on a mission to fix the problem. In this case, I'd say the problem is you. Be careful, Ms. Graham. P.S. I count 7 frog-related decorations in the classroom. 8 if you include Kermit. Don't you think that's a bit overboard? Cecilia. Hola, abuelita. Last night I woke up to Mami crying. She saves her tears for after I'm asleep. I couldn't stand to hear her sadness and do nothing. Finally, I got up and made her a cup of té de manzanilla, just like she does for me. Do you know, abuelita, that she worries about you being all alone without abuelito to keep you company? I never hear her tell you this during phone calls. I also never hear her share how terrible she feels that she missed a chance to say goodbye to abuelito in person. It doesn't matter that you told her not to come, that it was too risky, that if she left the U.S. she might not be able to come back. Sometimes I wish you didn't take abuelito back to Mexico. I understand why you did it, because you didn't have medical insurance here and he was so sick. But I was just 7 back then, and I didn't understand that my goodbye to him was final. I don't think Mami understood either. I know the schools are good in the United States, and I know it's safe here. It's just, I don't want to grow up without you. Someday I'll be old enough to travel to Mexico by myself, but it's so hard to wait. Maybe I'll buy some sticky notes for the fridge and write Mami a special note. Una sonrisa es algo hermoso. A smile is a beautiful thing. Words to practice. Travel. Viajar. Besos y abrazos, Cecilia. Dear Emily, you rule. I'm so glad you're on class council. Half the homework is a great start. Maybe next longer recesses? Then we might actually be able to finish a soccer game. Your friend, Cecilia. Emily. Status. 1 tear, sad face. Dear Hope, I'm writing you from my bedroom closet. Ms. Graham said we can bring our journals home whenever. My life is over. I know that sounds overly dramatic, but it's true. At recess, Kaylee pranced over to me, acting all important, and Aviva stood there looking at the sky. Then Kaylee dropped this colossal bomb. They're both going to La Ventana next year. What? I will have no friends. None. What will I do? Who will I sit with at lunch? Unloved and unlucky, Emily. P.S. In the old days, before the divorce, I'd have gone downstairs to talk to Mum about this. She'd have brought me a soft blanket and told me some story that had nothing to do with anything, but was still nice to hear. I'm not sure why I stopped talking to Mum about sad stuff. Maybe because she doesn't need me adding any more tears to the mix. But crying alone is the worst.